there's a word that there's a quality that we hope uh, to display, to exemplify in the new presentation. And one of these is humility. So, I know everything that we touch on takes on a new perspective, a new approach. So, how are we to demonstrate this humility?
Well, again, always go back to, it's the sun shining is, you might say, is an endless opportunity. It always is. And just even with that demonstration, you might say everything is there, which is here. And so I've looked at the word humility because it's got the "hu" word in it, so I don't really care for it. But humility, yes, that is huge, along with gratitude, pure sincerity. It's right there. So I changed it. It's 3 U's and mility. So it's humility. Yes. So that's the reality that relates to the isness. And yes, I see that as huge. Humility is of a particular. I'll use that too. Yes, I will. But that's more in the personal human sense. And that's fine too. It's all fine. It's like when we were kids and now we're adults. It's all part of it. But there's always something else. And so this is where I create the new references, because it references the isness, where everything else basically represents the personal self, and that's about as far as it goes. So yes, I see humility as huge. And then I've added to that, which is humility, without the HU. So, like the word humor, I remember when I was in the corporation, people like that because it's got the HU in it, and human, etc. It's got the HU in it. It all made sense with that. But now we see that it's limited to that. So again, something doesn't have to be, but I've decided something, and this is what I've decided. And then because of my intent and how I see it with the is, it becomes its own reality where life supports it. That becomes the difference. Now, some people will take what I say, or they'll twist it or add things a little bit. But again, it's how they see things, and it really won't work the same. Not at all. So again, Joni uses, many of the ideas. You notice that in the last year or so, she changed the idea of the light and sound of God, etc. She changed all that. Why would she do that? She's been reading my stuff, and that she's seen certain things. So why would she change the formula all of a sudden? That's like Coca-Cola. Are they going to change the formula? They're killing people right and left with Coke, so why would they change the formula? It seems to be working, you see. So again, if it's not broken, why fix it? But it's interesting. Yes, people are getting it, but at the same time, they put their own little thing on it, don't they? So it's like, how can this work for me? So we have a huge challenge here, don't we, Charles? To figure out whatever, don't we? But I see humility is very, very important. It's to be really humble. I see that, again, like the sun shining. It's sincere. This is what I see with the sun. It's totally sincere because it never stops shining. And that's like the isness life is. There's a relationship to help you recognize this isness. And then compare it to everything else, see? Learn to see what it's demonstrating. Yes. And again, you never thought about that before, did you? And so again, each one of us, we're experiencing and exploring life, and humility is very important, but not to get caught up in it to where it becomes something that's not also. So again, each person decides that. Yeah, but I see all these little parts. They lead up to something else, and then see what else there is. Okay, so that's where I kind of add things to it. It becomes more of a reference that, because there's always more to life that's unseen, and how is it that we refer to that? So these are the references I create, because that's that more position that all of a sudden I'll see it. It's just like in 2001 when I took the real position, and I was shown this immediately, and I already saw it, that I was to present the is. It was just a subtle hint. They didn't tell me. Voice didn't tell me anything. I could see it. I knew what to do. I recognized it already. It had led up to that. And then in '07, it became the all is. I recognized that. Nothing was told to me.
Yeah, so from what you said, there's a difference between implied humility and inferred humility. The one that most people just confer on others. They just imagine that this personality, because of what he has, the way he has spoken in public, or something like that, he should be a humble man. Most people think of the Dalai Lama as a very humble person, that he displays humility. And if you pit him with Duane, you may think that maybe that kind of humility that he displays, if at all, it doesn't suit with your approach to the present realities. So there's a difference between this your personality and somebody like the Dalai Lama. Somebody might say, "Oh, Duane is not humble. Duane doesn't have humility," or something like that, and they will credit the other side, people like the Dalai Lama, who claps his hands and bow and do all that. It seems he's very humble. So what do you think about this?
These are fun questions, Charles. Thank you for bringing them up. And yes, let's look at it. Okay, so we've got the idea of humility, and yes, it's a cool attitude to have. It really is, when it's sincere, because you need sincerity with it. Just like a cake, you need the sweetener, because it's just not water and flour and a little bit of salt, is it? That's going to be a bun instead of a cake. So we've got the Dalai Lama, and let's pick on Harry again. Okay, so again, Harry looks really humble, doesn't it? Very casual, talks very slow, actually puts everybody to sleep for the most part, and droll and etc. But again, let's look at what they're doing. You see, it's not so much in what is presented, the cliche of the appearance of things that seems to be so, but what are they actually doing? And so not everybody's going to pick up on that. They're going to go with the cliche. They're going to go with the appearance. They're going to go with Rashi, where he puts his hands together and he walks out to the audience, and it's in this prayer position, and that's all he has to do. He just put his hands together. Dalai Lama does something like that too, whatever, I guess. And he's got movie stars now doing marketing ploy for him, etc. So it really comes down to, what are they really doing? And so if anyone wants to see behind the curtain, then that's the real side. It can be shown if they really want to see it, but a lot of people don't. That's all a choice. And Duane is, no, it would seem like I'm not humble at all. I get that. So again, it's You might say duty comes first. I'll be humble later. But the thing is that getting something done in a world that's so agreeable to destroying itself. We can stand around, I can stand around and look humble, but, is that going to do it? Etc. I don't see where it's going to do it. So I'm going to be very straight up with what's going on and say my part, and I'm going to get myself into trouble. And, like here, even my neighbors don't like me. That's fine. They say little things about me. Well, I'm not making all the noise. I'm not making all the ruckus. Kelsey and Val are witness. I'm just, you don't even know I'm here most of the time. But all of a sudden, my neighbors that make all the noise and the ruckus and whatever, well, yeah, they're the humble neighbors. Me, I'm the troublemaker, and I don't do anything. So, again, I'm not into defending myself. And whether people say that, like, well, you're humble or you're not humble, Duane, you're arrogant, you say all these things, etc. It's like, okay, fine, whatever. But I see that there are those people that are succeeding with what I've presented. That's what matters to me. And I know that it's not easy. It's like the salmon, even more so, swimming upstream. And that's what I see as important, that it's not about me. So the Dalai Lama and Harry and the Pope and whatever, they can all look cool and humble. And like Obama did, he put on a great show, didn't he, with his boyfriend, wife, or whatever. And that's all fine. Okay, this is the show. This is the big show. Not interested in that. Not interested even in appearing in public anymore or whatever. All I'm looking for to do is to do something, which you don't see that part of it. You don't see really that part. You see what I'm writing and saying, but there's a whole lot more going on that's not seen, that's of an even better quality than is being presented here, you see? And so, yeah, we have the appearance, we have the surface world and all this. And yeah, they're going to get the awards, like Obama gave himself the Nobel Peace Prize or something for creating all those wars and destroying women and children. He's really cool. He gave that to himself and others, and how they give these medals of honor and what have you. Anybody can get one of these medals. They have them at Walmart and on Amazon online. They're not that much. And so this is the world of appearances. And yes, this is where, again, I changed the word humility, because, again, it's become so commonplace. It's like everybody uses it. It's like, oh, this is humility, that's humility. All right, fine, whatever. And so I'm focused on the isness. And with that, like the sun shining, it's everything. But you got to decide to see it. And then what will you do? It's in the doing, isn't it? So what does the Dalai Lama do every day? Do you know, Charles? Does anybody know?
I don't know. I have no idea.
And Harry, what does he do all day? What does he do all day? Does he draw cartoons? What does he do?
Harry passes for someone who is very, very pious and very humble, with that is measured way of talking, and it creates that kind of, what I say, deceptive aura that engulfs people. And you see, the way if you compare what he says, what you say, and your manner of saying it, you see, you present the new presentation in a way that it's not like begging anybody to partake of it. In fact, it is like you either take it or you leave it. And it's all within the ambit of your free will, of your choice, the choice, what you want. So it's not like something you want to force on people, or you want to beg people to to be part of. You see, so one would wonder, oh, he's created his the new presentation, and I think he should have some very sugar coated words, to let people uh, hear what he's saying, or to follow him, or something like that. You declare you don't need followers, and you place followers where they belong, and uh, you present the new presentation as something which is necessary, indispensable, but it's not necessary if you don't think it is necessary. So there is this nuance, there is this ambiguity in your presentation. You don't pass for that type of regular let me say pastors, or somebody who wants wants people to adhere to something in a using some kind of ploy. You're matter of factly about it. For instance, I can say you're being real, yeah, with what you are presenting. It is necessary, but not necessary if you don't think it is necessary. So there's people wonder, but why is he talking like this? Why is he? We thought he should be maybe go on his knees and beg people to come to eat, and because if you don't do this, you're losing so much. But you say life is forever. If you don't get it this time, in the next 1,000 years you'll get it. So people are really confused. Why is this man not humble? So I look at it.
I like humility, Charles, I really do, but pure sincerity is first. The isness is pure, that's it. There, you don't have to add anything, and like the sun shining, it's sincere, it's always on, it always is. So I just see pure sincerity, taking care of everything, and then at the same time, we learn discrimination in some type of discrimination, or how to figure things out that make sense in creation while we're living here. That's all. And I like the challenge of creation. And I see how I decide what I do within myself for things to be a particular way. And I like the adventure because, again, it's, it's really like, in a way, it's like someone who was raised by their parents, and all of a sudden they realize, hey, I am grateful for what my parents have done. And for the most part, most people are not. They want to get away. They don't care. It's like there's always there's drama. There's all this stuff, and etc. I am grateful for what I have recognized with the isness and the voice. I'm grateful to them, but they see that the reality of life is supporting this isness by the very fact of how you see it and you demonstrate it becomes very, very real. This is where you become all aware by that very fact. 100% standing real with this reality. 100%. No flaws, like the sun shining. No attachments, no emotion, no drama, no relationships, no nothing. Everything's still there. It's all still there. But you don't need any of that. Can you see that? And that equals supporting this reality. And when it recognizes that you do, and you recognize this, there's this recognition going on. And so then everything is taken care of. It's so cool. But that's something you have to decide within yourself. But for the most part, again, as we come through creation, people will put their personal self first. And The end result is you will continually chase that and have to deal with it. That's how creation is. There's a way to do it. There's a way to still be in creation and for all of it to work, but at the same time, without the effect, without the encumbrance, without the drama, without the restrictions. You got to figure that out. But it's all with your intent with this reality, and it can only support you according to how you allow it to. So when you stand 100% real with it, that's how it works. But that's with your intent, not just some idea. It's like, oh, I am this, or I am that, or I am the am, or whatever. No, it's an isness. You see how you recognize it. And so again, yes, humility is very important. It is very important. It's one of those things that we utilize, like anything we utilize here, like our car, or living in our house, or going out to dinner, or whatever. It's a choice, but I see that pure sincerity is everything once it's recognized, and then to figure out how to stand real with that reality, with your intent. You see, how do you do that? Yeah, so that's part of the adventure too, but it becomes more than the adventure, and the adventure really is in creation, but there becomes something so real in the real universes. So we separate those two for our literal mind, but it's all the same, but it's just how you see it. But in the meantime, we separate them simply because otherwise everybody mashes it all together and they forget. They go more so with the appearance of things than the reality life is. So it's better to separate themselves so you have a comparison. The comparisons work. We've come up through the ideas of this is this and this is that. This is truth, this is a lie, etc. This is really these things that have been created and ideas in creation, like we talked about in the beginning and what you read from this other fella. Okay, so yeah, but does he see more? He sees that. It's not hard to see what's going on in the world. It's not hard to figure it out. Almost anybody that just takes the time to do it and just starts looking around will see what's going on and what makes sense and what doesn't according to the world. But to see this reality and how it is implied, this isness, that's huge. And to figure that out in accordance with that. Otherwise, you can have all the sound good ideas and make things up, etc., but you're still going to grow old and forget because you didn't see it, you see. So, yeah, we're on quite an adventure here, aren't we, Charles? Thank you for taking the time, because I see these things as very important. And also in that Africa thing, yeah, they are going over the Congo too, which is interesting. So, but the real side of it, not necessarily the people side, but the real side of things is so cool. But anyhow, I really appreciate when people present something that makes sense, and little by little it's coming about. But it's not only the experience, people have experience, but it's learning to recognize how that experience relates to the true reality life is. There's a difference, because most people, like nature, what do they reference it to? The gods, or God created this, or whatever. Something that is created, okay? Yes, there is that part, but there's a bigger picture that allows the individual to free themselves from the restrictions of creation, yet still be in creation to where it's okay. That's what's really cool about this. You can have everything, without being restricted by it. That becomes the difference. So with that, yes, thank you, Charles. It's just so cool. Say hello to Miriam. And I know that things are funny over there in the world, so we'll see what happens next. But so appreciate you being here. It's all needed. Everybody has the advantage to be creative in some way, step up, have this experience to share with us. Yes, thank you, everybody, for showing up as you support this. Because, again, we are the real light of this world, and we get the adventure. Lucky us. Yes, that's how I see it. Very grateful. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.